we're starting off at the top. Let's Go Sports says, what are your thoughts on the Steelers quarterback situation? Well, Let's Go Sports, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's dive deep into it and really start to dissect of what is going on over there in Aaron Rodgers' camp and, of course, Pittsburgh Steelers camp as well. As you guys know, Aaron Rodgers met with the Pittsburgh Steelers for 6 hours over the weekend. Man, that is 6 hours. That is like 3 meals, 4 poop breaks, and I got to go jack one off. Let's just be honest. But it is not set in stone that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is not set in stone that the Pittsburgh Steelers are loving Aaron Rodgers either. But guys, let's be 100% clear. Let's be 100% clear. Aaron Rodgers beats to his own drum. Aaron Rodgers is on his own timeline. Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers wants at the end of the day, and he has earned that title to do what he wants. So if you guys hear any of these trash talk groups that we have over here at facebook.com/banner, we got a bunch of trash talk groups. If you are listening to any of these beat writers or these people that have the inside information or the NFL insiders, like nobody knows what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Let's be perfectly clear on that. Not one person besides Aaron Rodgers, and he may not even know what he is going to do. With that being said, guys, there are some teams in play besides the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, that might land Aaron Rodgers. There are some teams out there that I think are going to be a little bit of wild horses out there that could potentially land Aaron Rodgers still. New York Giants and Aaron Rodgers seems to me makes a lot of sense. Seems to make a lot of sense. Now, the Vikings have removed themselves from the conversation, but let's just be honest. Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings makes a lot of sense. Now, the Tennessee Titans are the true wild card team, right? They need a quarterback, but they also need a lot of other pieces as well. So Aaron Rodgers could, in theory, go to the Tennessee Titans as well. But let's stick with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's stick with the Pittsburgh Steelers because that's where everybody thinks that he is going to end up landing, and that's where I think he is going to land as well. Now, Steelers, in theory, do not need Aaron Rodgers. Let me repeat that. In theory, the Pittsburgh Steelers do not need Aaron Rodgers. Meaning if they want him, sure, but they do not need him, no. You guys understand that. They want him, but they do not need him. With that being said, Mason Rudolph has been a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the past. He wasn't horrible, but he wasn't great either. And let's just be honest, all the Pittsburgh Steelers need is above average quarterback play, meaning 15, 14, 13, 12th, to be a playoff team. Now, if Mason Rudolph is given a true shot in Pittsburgh, I think he can lead them definitely to a 10-win season. But when he was given a shot in Pittsburgh before he was shipped off to the Tennessee Titans in 10 games in his first season, he had 1,700 yards for 13 touchdowns. In 10 games, his rookie season, he had 1,700 yards for 13 touchdowns. Not terrible. Not terrible. Not great, but not terrible, right? Now, his next 3 seasons, he did only play 11 games. He had a half a head. It was still recovering from that. But in those 11 games, the first time, his sophomore season, he had 324 yards. The following season, he had 277 yards. And in his final season in Pittsburgh, he did have 719 yards passing with a total of 6 touchdowns those 3 seasons. Now, in 1 year in Nashville, he did play in 8 games. 1,530 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, but 9 interceptions as well. With proper buy-in for the Pittsburgh Steelers themselves and proper buy-in with Mason Rudolph, the Steelers can definitely get 9 to 10 wins with Mason Rudolph at the helm. So let me repeat this. The Pittsburgh Steelers may want Aaron Rodgers, but they do not need Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers also still hold the 21st overall pick in this year's draft, along with the 19th pick in the 3rd round as well. Now, they do need a quarterback. Let's just be honest. The Pittsburgh Steelers do need a quarterback, and they want to get a quarterback. Will they get a top-ranked quarterback, Jackson Dart, Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward at the 21st overall pick? Absolutely not. But there's a quarterback out there that fits the Pittsburgh Steelers perfect. There's the quarterback out there from the Kansas State University and then transferred to the Ohio State and actually won a national championship. That is my man, the myth, the legend, Will Howard. Guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers can pick up Will Howard in the 4th or 5th round easily, and he could be the franchise quarterback for many, many years to come. ESPN and NFL.com and all those mock draft experts have Will Howard as the 8th overall quarterback in this year's draft. Let's just be honest. So like I said, the Pittsburgh Steelers want Aaron Rodgers, but they don't need Aaron Rodgers. There are a lot of needs and wants in this world, and they want them, they don't need them. And I don't think that pushes Aaron Rodgers one way or the other. That definitely doesn't draw him in, but it doesn't necessarily push him as a way either, right? So with that being said, guys, will Aaron Rodgers be a Pittsburgh Steeler by the time the draft comes? We're about 2 weeks away, three weeks away from the NFL draft. Will Aaron Rodgers be a Pittsburgh Steeler? That is the question. What do you guys think? Me personally, I am saying he will not be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I am thinking he will not be a Pittsburgh Steelers because he is not wanted. The Pittsburgh Steelers are not groveling at his feet saying, who do you want to come here to be our quarterback? And Aaron Rodgers right now is not used to that. The last 4 seasons in Green Bay and in New York, he basically got whatever he wanted. In Pittsburgh, he's not going to get that. He's like, oh, man, the Giants may not even give that to him either. The only team that could possibly do that right now would probably be the Las Vegas Raiders. But guys, that is the question. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be a Pittsburgh Steeler come the night of the draft? I'm saying no. I am saying no. Let's see what the people are saying up here in the chat. Nate Wilmot says, hey, Zach, what's up? What's up, Nate? My name's Buck. But you must be talking to your buddy over there, Zach. But hey, it's all good, man. Let's have a conversation down there in the comments below. Old Man River says he doesn't have the deep ball with DK and Pickens. I don't think it's going to happen in Pittsburgh. Old Man River, I disagree with you on a lot of things. Sometimes you and I just don't see eye to eye. You have the old school mindset. I kind of have that new school mindset, with mixed with like a little bit old school, right? But let's just be honest. You are 100% wrong on this. Aaron Rodgers has one of the best deep balls in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers has one of the best touches in the NFL that I have seen like ever. Now, granted, we did not get to see that much in New York because, for one, he had zero time to pass, right? They were never really a push the ball down the field type of offense, and we don't really know how that Achilles actually is because he didn't have time to really push the ball down the field repetitively. Now, the couple times that he did, it looked very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Now, I'm not saying Pittsburgh Steelers he is going to have pushing the ball down the field, right? Because we know that Arthur Smith, right, kind of likes to run the ball. Likes to do a little ground and pound. Likes to just kind of take the ball out of the quarterback's hands at the end of the day. So maybe that doesn't quite jive, but hey, we will see. We'll see. Jim Powell, the CEO of the Pigskin Pundits.
Pigskin Pun. Get you some.
So guys, be like Jim and click on the membership tab below. Get behind the scenes footage, some free after hour show, some merch, and of course free entry into our giveaways. But Jim says Rodgers is a whack-a-doodle and no one wants that. And honestly, Jim, I don't know what has happened since he left Green Bay, but was he doing all this weird stuff in Green Bay, but it was kind of just kept under wraps because obviously Green Bay is not the media mecca of the world, but when he went to New York, everybody and their dog knew what he was doing? Or is this just something new? Is this him just like, man, I'm 41, I'm single, I have no kids, I have no wife, and I might be gay? Like, I mean, every egotistical man is weird in their own way. Every person is weird in their own way, but he's definitely off that rocker a little bit, right? Let's Go Sports says, which quarterback out of all the ones, including free agency and the draft, or even Mason Rudolph, do you think is the best chance for them to get to the Super Bowl, even though a Super Bowl is really unlikely? Let's Go Sports. It sounds like to me that you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, right? You have the black and gold logo. So let me give you a little spoiler alert. Last year, about June and July, I sat here and I said the Pittsburgh Steelers have a great defense. Pittsburgh Steelers have a great offense. They are above average quarterback away and making a Super Bowl run. I stood by that for 95% of the season. They had above average quarterback play for about 90% of the season. The last 2 weeks, they kind of faltered and kind of fell off the face of the earth. And I am still at that point right now. I mean, granted, we are pre-draft. We are a month away from the draft. We have some preseason games to go and like OTAs and mini camps and all the rest of the stuff, right? But I still think the Pittsburgh Steelers are built to win a Super Bowl. They have defense. They have a passing attack now. And they are going to use the ability of Jaylen Warren. I think Jaylen Warren should have been QB or RB1 last year, but Najee Harris was there. That's a story for a different day. But what quarterback gives the Steelers the best shot at a Super Bowl? I don't think it's Mason Rudolph. I don't think it's Skylar Thompson, right? Even though Skylar Thompson is from the Kansas State University, the best college in America. And honestly, I don't know if it's Aaron Rodgers either. So out of those three, I don't think any of them are it. I think if you want to go to the Super Bowl, or if you want to have a go, let's just take it one step back. Let's say you want to go to the AFC Championship game. You want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, or the Ravens, right? Like if you want to be above one of those teams, the quarterback that you need to go and get, the answer is Will Howard. The answer is in the 4th or 5th round. The answer is Will Howard. If you have not watched Will Howard play, go back to his sophomore year at Kansas State. This guy was a freaking stud. Brand new offensive coordinator. All of a sudden, they go from a wildcat ground and pound to kind of spread it out and throw the ball all over the field, and then reverted back to that mid-season. Like, his sophomore year may have been his worst stat-wise, but it was his best growth from point A to point B. He grew so much throughout that season. And if he could do that as a rookie in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a Super Bowl-bound team with Will Howard at the helm. So if you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you are watching Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, wherever you are at, in the 5th round, as soon as they call up there, Will Howard, you better be on cloud 9. You better going out there and be buying that number 18 jersey. You better be going out there and supporting the boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Will freaking Howard. Because Will Howard is a dog. My man Zen, I coached Zen in high school from the Floyd Central. Right here is the hoodie. I'm getting ready to talk to Zen here in about an hour, right? Zen loves him some Will Howard. Zen played with Justin Fields. Zen played with CJ Stroud. Zen said Will Howard is the best quarterback he has been around. The most likable, the most talent, the best arm skill. Will Howard is it. Will Howard is it. Jim says he got a freaking wish list when he went to the Jets and he couldn't do better than 5 dubs. Jim, let's just be honest. Aaron Rodgers' wish list to the New York Jets was not him saying that, right? But that wish list was like so back in 2012. It would have been a great wish list if it was 10 years ago, 9 years ago, hell, 5 years ago. But that wish list was complete trash. Let's just be honest. Let's Go Sports says, I would prefer a QB with a decent arm, but definitely can run with our young offensive line. The answer is Will Howard. Unless the Pittsburgh Steelers are willing to move up in the draft, it's probably going to have to be a top 5. So you're probably going to be giving away 3 first-round picks over the next 3 seasons to jump up to that number 5, number 4, hell, maybe even number 3 pick there. And if you want to go out there and get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, whoever comes second off of the board, or maybe a Jackson Dart, otherwise move back and take Will Howard, baby. Take Will Howard. And Jim's like, whoa, slow it down, baby. Buck, says Jim, I know, the whole world knows that Will Howard wants to be a Raider. Will Howard is going to Vegas, baby. Jim, we'll be talking about your Raiders coming up here, but don't get too crazy. Do not get too crazy because Will Howard is going to probably come off the board a little bit earlier, I think, than people will think. I think eighth, him ranked eighth over, like overall is a kind of a slap in the face. Let's just be honest. Robbie's in the chat. What's up, Robbie? He says, no thank you on any Ohio State quarterback. They don't pan out in the NFL. Robbie? Justin Fields has not been given a chance in the NFL. When he actually had an opportunity in Pittsburgh, he did do decent as a starting quarterback. 4-2 with a decent let me rephrase it, a great defense and a decent offense. He was 4-2 as a starter. Now, he wasn't putting up massive numbers by any stretch of the imagination, but then the next season, C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud pretty much debunked every Ohio State quarterback. C.J. Stroud had a hell of a rookie year. Yes, he had a little bit of a sophomore slump, air quotes there, but let's just be honest, that offense went through a lot of injuries. I think every receiver on that team lost a little bit of time. Will Howard is a complete package. Sorry. Will Howard is a complete package. Let's go sports! Says the QB we get, I would like them to have at least a decent arm. We already went through that. Okay. My bad. And like Robbie's like, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, Robbie, I didn't know you were a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Welcome to hashtag here we are or here we go, right? He says, I'm fine with Mason Rudolph as a starter. Robbie, dog. It's okay to be fine with Mason Rudolph as a starter if you want to be a 500 team. Because let's just be honest, just like my man Alpha Rob always says, Mike Tomlin's going to get you 8 or 9 or 10 wins all by himself. So if you just want to be average, if you want to be third in the AFC North, sure. If you want to win a Super Bowl, if you want to make it to the playoffs, Will Howard. Speaking of Alpha Rob, what's up, Alpha Rob? He says, what's up, Buck? I'm late. Sorry, it's all good, baby. We all good. We here for 2 hours. Every Monday through Friday. You know that, dog. You know that. And like Alpha Rob says, yeah, I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. So, guys, in the comments below, the question is simple. Do you guys think Aaron Rodgers will be a Pittsburgh Steeler starting quarterback? Let's put a date out there, April 1st, right? But before the draft. And like in the next week, a week and a half, we'll be hearing that Aaron Rodgers has officially signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hashtag no, hashtag yes down in their comments below. Robbie says Aaron Rodgers can go climb back in his dark place. He's not in his dark place anymore. He has come into the light, Robbie. He has been on the beach in Australia randomly posing for a camera that he doesn't know is there, but glazing off into the sunset and pondering his thoughts. New York, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Nashville, where will I end up? I made up in the bay. But he's like, I don't know. But he is out of the light. He's going into the light. Old Man River says, how many last year that Achilles hindered? Come on, I have eyes. How many last year that Achilles? I don't know what you're saying. But what I think you're trying to say is, yes, Old Man River, I think the Achilles injury did hinder Aaron Rodgers a little bit last year. I think he tried to come back a little too fast, and that Achilles healed a little stiff. We've seen it with Kirk Cousins, and we've seen it with Aaron Rodgers, both 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks. That is a tough injury to come back, even if you're 20 or 30, let alone 40. They just need a little bit more time to start stretching that tendon out or ligament out, right? So it is what it is. Real McCoy says Steelers have no offense. Rodgers needs stability that the Steelers have. However, Rodgers is a no-go for the Steelers. Real McCoy, I think the Steelers have one of the most underrated offenses in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying last year with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they were game-changing things, right? But when the Pittsburgh Steelers were on the roll for the first 10, 11 weeks of the NFL season, yes, it was quote against weaker opponents, but they had a nice 1-2 punch. The running game was nice, and they could nickel and dime you down the field with the short passing game. And the defense was on point. Now, at some point between week 12 and week 15, somebody on the defense slept with somebody's baby mama, and they had drama on that side of the ball. And you can see it by their play. The trust among that defense was gone. People were making plays on the other side of the field when they should have been holding side on their own side of the field. Play discipline, discipline, whatever you want to call it. That was not happening in Pittsburgh. The trust was gone. I think with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, you know what you are going to get, right? You are going to run the ball. You are going to have a nice deep threat passing game. And I think the defense can relax a little bit, and the baby mama drama is now over. I think the Steelers will be fine with Aaron Rodgers. Jim
Pigskin pun. Get
says
some.
nobody cares. It's still the Steelers. Jim says we can talk about this all till we're blue in the face. We can talk about this up until draft night. We can talk about this until June or July, but nobody cares. It's still the Steelers. They're still a 9-win team. Not wrong, Jim. Not wrong. Robbie says, I'm hoping the Steelers draft quarterback Jalen Milroe from Alabama. Heard he's projected to go in the 3rd round. He is. But I don't think Jalen Milroe is built for Pittsburgh. I think Will Howard is. Nice, big, strong arm to throw in that wind is talking about. Real McCoy says Steelers definitely need a good young quarterback, but also need to start looking for a head coach. This comment is perfect, real McCoy. This is exactly it. I feel like the last 2 years, Jim, John, Old Man River, and Alpha Rob and myself have all been kind of saying the same thing. It's time for Mike Tomlin to go to the other side. It is time to walk away from that dirty old bag, meaning the Pittsburgh Steelers, and go look at the nice young 20-year-old. To go look at the nice young 30-year-old. Hell, go look at the nice young 40-year-old, right? I think Mike Tomlin's time in Pittsburgh has set sail. Now, I'm not saying he is the bad coach. I am not saying that he is not a great coach. I am not saying that he will not go somewhere else and be successful, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will not be successful. They need a actionable, a mutual parting of the ways, kind of like what Philadelphia Eagles did with Andy Reid. Yes, he was quote fired, but it was time for Andy Reid to move on. It was time for the Philadelphia Eagles to move on. They both succeeded in the end. They both got better in the end. Mike Tomlin could get fired right now at 9:38 p.m. on the East Coast time, right here on March 24th. And I guarantee you by 9:45, that by the time the news broke on Twitter, he would be getting multiple job offers. Either from the Chiefs, whether from the Lions, whether from the Raiders. He would have a pick of a choice of where he wanted to go. Let's just be honest. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have a team built to win right now. They just need a new voice. So yes, I think Mike Tomlin needs to go on. I think Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe not necessarily a hot young coach, but a coach that's relatively unproven, a new voice per se, a brand new locker room voice. New offensive coordinator, new defense coordinator. Definitely do not promote Arthur Smith if that were to happen, right? And Robbie says, no offense, Raider fans, but they suck buck cheeks. Not wrong. Alpha Rob says, I don't think Mike Tomlin is going to go with a young quarterback. It would interfere with his 9 or 10 wins. As you are correct, Alpha Rob, as you are correct, a young quarterback will definitely hinder his ability to get his winning season. Will Howard is not young. Will Howard is 24 years old. So, I mean, he is one of the older quarterbacks in this year's draft. And by the way, I believe he is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. So makes sense. It makes sense. Makes sense. And Old Man Rivers says backup in Vegas will be Milrow. Not everybody's going to Vegas, y'all. Not everybody's going to Vegas, y'all. And Robbie says Art Rooney will never fire Tomlin. Steelers fan need to let that dream go. And Robbie, you are correct. What the Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches their whole franchise's lifespan. So, as you are correct, the Pittsburgh Steelers coaches come and go as they please. But maybe Mike Tomlin needs to walk into Art Rooney's office like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to split ways. Maybe it is time for us to see if the grass is greener on the other side.